All right, everyone, get ready, because today we are really diving deep, and I mean really deep into the dark web. We're talking about dark web marketplaces, specifically AlphaBay.
AlphaBay.
You know, you might have heard about Silk Road.
Yeah?
This makes Silk Road look like, I don't know, a lemonade stand.
Right.
We're talking millions of dollars a day.
Yeah.
A mysterious kingpin. Everyone knows him as Alpha 2. And we got twists and turns. So many twists and turns. You ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we're pulling from a really interesting video on this, and let me tell you, it's jam-packed with detail. It's really interesting how this whole thing started. So before AlphaBay became like the Amazon of the dark web,
Right.
it was just a small-time operation focused on carding.
Yeah, that's right.
So imagine like stealing credit card information and then selling it online. That was their bread and butter.
Yeah, essentially like digital picking pockets.
Yeah. Digital pickpocketing, but with way higher stakes.
Way higher.
But then Alpha 2, the guy behind it all, he decided to dream bigger. He saw an opportunity to create a one-stop shop for anything illegal.
Yeah.
And that's how AlphaBay was born. It's crazy how quickly it exploded.
Yeah, it's really quite remarkable. It just shows you that there is a demand out there, that people want to be able to buy and sell anonymously.
Right.
And this provided that platform for them.
Totally, totally.
And what's interesting, too, about Alpha 2, or at least what we've been able to gather, he didn't seem to be driven by any sort of ideology.
Really?
Yeah. He was very much about making money.
Okay.
He had his own set of rules. You know, he didn't want child exploitation on there.
Okay.
He didn't want any hits put out on people. And he also didn't want anyone targeting Russians.
Russians are off limits.
Russians are off limits.
Wow. So it's wild, right? It's like he was trying to create some warped sense of morality within this lawless space.
Yeah.
But make no mistake, this was all about making money.
Oh, yeah. This is a business.
And boy, did he ever.
At its peak, AlphaBay was processing more transactions than every other dark web marketplace combined.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Yeah.
We're talking millions and millions of dollars every single day.
It's almost hard to fathom those kind of numbers. And get this, he wasn't exactly shy about his wealth either. We're talking about a guy who loved to flaunt it. Luxury cars, exotic vacations. Basically living that high life most people only dream of. But, as they say, every empire crumbles. And in AlphaBay's case, it was a vendor's simple mistake. That started the domino effect. They accidentally leaked an email address, giving investigators this tiny crack in Alpha 2's carefully constructed wall of anonymity.
Oh, boy.
And you know what they say about small cracks?
They get bigger.
So they got this email address right.
Right.
And they were able to do something with it.
Yeah, so this is a great example of how even in like the darkest corners of the internet, right? Like traditional investigative techniques still apply.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So they took this email address and they were able to run with it using something called open source intelligence.
Open source intelligence.
Or OSINT for short.
OSINT. Okay, so what is that?
So basically imagine piecing together this puzzle using only publicly available information.
Okay.
So they're going through social media profiles, online forums, dating sites, anything they can get their hands on.
That's related to this email address. And they hit the jackpot.
You're kidding me. They found Alpha 2 just by like snooping around the internet?
Basically, and keep in mind, this was before, you know, facial recognition technology was as advanced as it is today.
Right.
These investigators were like the original digital detectives.
Wow. So what did they find? Like, what kind of stuff was this guy posting?
So remember who we were talking about, his lavish lifestyle?
Yeah.
Turns out he wasn't exactly hiding it.
What?
Yeah, he had social media profiles under different names, of course.
Okay.
But he couldn't resist showing off a little bit.
Really?
Oh, yeah, photos of himself with his Lamborghini.
No way.
Oh, yeah, check-ins at fancy restaurants.
Yeah.
Posts about his travels.
So he was basically just bragging about all this illegal stuff for the whole world to see. It's kind of like he wanted to get caught.
I mean, what was he thinking?
It's really a fascinating psychological aspect of this case.
Yeah.
Like, did he truly believe he was untouchable?
Wow.
But the real goldmine came when they stumbled upon a forum called Rushby. Alpha 2, or Rumo, as he called himself on the forum.
Rumo.
Yeah. Used it as his own personal online diary.
Oh.
He'd write about his day, his thoughts, his anxieties. He really didn't hold back.
Wow, and he's posting about AlphaBay on this forum, too.
He wasn't explicitly mentioning any illegal activity.
Okay.
He was careful enough for that. But reading between the lines, investigators really started to paint a more complete picture of the man behind the keyboard.
So they're building this psychological profile just based on his online ramblings. That's kind of creepy when you think about it. How much information we unknowingly give up about ourselves online.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it raises some interesting questions about privacy in the digital age.
Right.
But I think we can save that for another time.
Another time. Yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. So they got this treasure trove of information on Alpha 2. They know his real identity, his habits, his hangouts. They're ready to make their move. What happens next? So they've got him right. They're ready to make the arrest. What they do?
This is where it gets really interesting. We're talking a multi-agency operation, law enforcement from all over the world.
Wow.
The U.S., Thailand, Lithuania, even the Netherlands gets involved.
The Netherlands?
Yeah.
Okay.
They called it Operation Bayonet, and it was basically a global game of cyber chess.
Operation Bayonet.
Yeah.
Sounds intense.
It was. And they knew they needed to get this right.
Yeah.
Remember how important that encryption software was to AlphaBay security?
Yeah.
They knew they needed to catch Alpha 2 red-handed, laptop open, logged into his account, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
They had to time it perfectly.
So how do you even begin to orchestrate something like that?
I know, right? It's not like you can just send the guy a meeting invite.
Right.
So they had to get creative.
Okay.
The plan they came up with.
Yeah.
Straight out of a movie.
Okay.
They staged a car crash.
What?
Undercover female police officers crashed a car right into his compound.
You're kidding.
Knowing that he'd come out to help.
Oh, wow.
It was risky, but they were counting on his personality, his chivalry. And you know what?
What?
It worked.
Wow. That's some next level police work.
Oh, yeah. They were committed to taking him down.
Wow. So they finally have him right. What happens next?
Well, remember how I mentioned the Netherlands?
Yeah.
So they were running their own operation targeting Hansa.
Right. Hansa, that was another big one.
Huge. And as luck would have it, at the precise moment that authorities were closing in on Alpha 2,
What happened?
the Dutch police, completely unaware of the other operation going on, took down Hansa's servers.
Wait, so they accidentally took down AlphaBay's biggest competitor while he was about to be apprehended.
It's crazy, right?
That's insane.
Talk about coincidence.
You can't make this stuff up.
It's wild. And it created this unexpected opportunity. See, with Hansa offline, a lot of its users were scrambling for alternatives. The Dutch police, they saw a chance to capitalize on this. And they did something incredibly bold.
What'd they do?
They resurrected Hansa.
They what?
Yeah, but here's the catch. They were now in control. They turned it into what's known as a honeypot.
A honeypot? What's that?
Essentially a fake marketplace designed to lure in criminals.
Oh, wow.
And gather intelligence.
So they're catching criminals on two fronts now. They're shutting down AlphaBay, and they're using Hansa as bait.
It was a genius, if not controversial, tactic.
Wow. What happened to Alpha 2, though?
That's where the story takes another tragic turn. While in custody, Alpha 2 was found dead in his cell.
Are you serious?
Apparent suicide.
He's caught after this elaborate international sting operation. And then that happens.
It's a strange and unsettling end to an already wild story.
It really is.
There were some suspicious circumstances surrounding his death, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, but the official ruling remained suicide.
What a bizarre and tragic end to this whole thing. I guess some mysteries are just never truly solved.
That's right. The story of AlphaBay is a stark reminder that the choices we make both online and offline can have serious consequences.
Absolutely, and it leaves us with a lot to think about.
It really does. In an age where anonymity is both a shield and a weapon, who are we really trusting with our data, our privacy, our very identities?
It's a question worth pondering. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us. It's been quite a journey. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, what happens on the internet doesn't always stay on the internet.